in this week's episode of Enthusiast.
The Phantom 2025 diary info and so much more in this week's episode. And coming up on this week's show and in the publishers news this week, we've got the Malon publishing the Phantom Diary 2025 info. And then we also have another news segment for today, and it is, what have I been reading so far? What have I been reading? What is something that has intrigued me so much that I have enjoyed reading? So I'm going to be talking about that and a lot more. This week in the publishers news, Malon Publishing have this week released information on their upcoming release of the 2025 Phantom line of merchandise. The line, which will be up on the screen right now, the line will include a diary, an artist print proof, and a calendar. With all of these items expected to be pre-booked, there's information being released, but whether that information needs to be changed or not before they actually make it, publish it, and people buy it, it may be different to what you may get in the future. Hopefully not. They always make good quality books, and I've bought their diaries before when I've been able to buy them in the news agency. I don't really buy them nowadays because they're very, very hard to get. They're very, very hard to get. If they get put on the Few Publications website, they sell out fast. They sell out faster than hot cross buns at Coles and Woolies. All of these items can be pre-booked from Malon Publishing with an order form directly from them. Now I don't know why they are still using order forms in this modern age. Like, that might be a question that they might need to answer. But if the system every year works the same and they still get the book out to a person who has bought it, unlike Shakti Comics, then it's still going to work. It's still successful. People are still buying what they're making, so that's all well and good. You can now watch my show on The Enthusiast, the best Phantom show, the best Phantom podcast for Phantom fans. And it is available on Anchor and Spotify. It's available everywhere. It's available on the world. It's available on YouTube. And it's available everywhere. The Enthusiast, where the passion for the Phantom, if you can't tell, doesn't waver. New episodes weekly on Tuesdays, and I will also be putting a link to the podcast in the description down below. It's always down there for easy convenience. You can now get 14% off on all things Hermes Press with the code Enthusiast 2022, all in one big word. Whether you are looking for something new to read on an afternoon after hard day's work, you can clearly see that I've been working hard getting this episode ready. There's always something for you to find at Hermes Press now. What have I been reading? I've been reading a stack full of Phantom comics because, the stack is this high and I don't even get time to be reading them during the show. And I'm going to be showing you what Phantom comics I've been reading over the last month. And this is What Have I Been Reading by Brad Kelly. I've been reading some really cracking books, storylines, everything in between. Also, this video is brought to you by Sweeps, sweeping your floors since 1763. Not really, but you get where I'm coming from. Next minute, some ASMR comes out of it. I read The Phantom, The Boy Detectives. It was a pretty good story. I read The Bat of Berlin Part 1 and Part 2. It was a good story. A little bit hard to get my head around, but it was a good story. That's Part 1. Cover is done by Daniel Picciotto. or Picky for short, who did some amazing work on that cover. He's always doing some great covers. We hadn't seen one from him for a good while, and I was wondering when there was going to come one out, but then there was. So, no need to worry. Okay, we read part 2 because, I need to catch up on my reading material. So we read part 2, good cover by Timo Works. He did the front cover and he also did the back cover, which is pretty cool, pretty neat.
We're sad.
We also read the Phantom number 1976, The Highway Robbers. That actually was a pretty good story. I quite enjoyed that one. And it also has chapter 2 of Operation Domino, which is it's a good story. It's just going way too fast. It's hard to realize what's actually going on in the panels, and you're reading it so fast that before you know it, the chapter's gone. The chapter is finished. Well, there you go. I read Devil in Stockholm. That story was a little weird. It was a little weird because of the big devil head type shape fingers. Finally read The Phantom, issue number 1969, The Enter the Phantom. I hadn't read this. I was going to read it. I was going to read it, but then I didn't, and then I did. And it was a good story. There was bits and pieces to do with the reference shots that I didn't think were quite on point, but all in all, it was a good story. And then we also read The Phantom, issue number 1970, The Stolen Rings. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Brad, why aren't you up to date? I'm not up to date because I'm making this. It takes a lot of effort to make a show like this and to be as good as a host. Then we also read The Phantom number 1978. It's The Marks of the Phantom. And then we also read the full colour special celebrating the first 2,000 issues. The Phantom issue number 1972. The Phantom Royal Hero. I sometimes wonder if some of the older stories do really need a sequel after being created, maybe 40, 50, 60 odd years beforehand. Really, do they need a sequel? Maybe they don't, but now they do. I also read the latest issue that came out, The Phantom, number 1979. Oh, we're so close. It's a very, very good story, very, very good cover art, and even greater storyline. It also has a plus, Operation Domino Part 3, which is pretty good. It's getting somewhere where I still can't understand what's happening in the panels. It's a great story. I hope you enjoyed What Have I Been Reading by Brad Kelly. And if you enjoy Phantom Cave Reviews, if you enjoy watching my show that I make, and it doesn't just take effort, it takes a whole lot of hours, you can now subscribe to see more great videos like this. What would you like to see on the 7th season of The Enthusiast? And as always, keep Phantom Caving, stay safe, and I'll be back next week with another episode of The Enthusiast. Bye!